This Markelle Fultz situation is on some X-Files stuff. This is the weirdest thing that I've seen in the NBA in some time. Basically, between the 76ers, Markelle Fultz, Fultz's agent, his trainer, and whoever the hell else, someone's lying, someone's not taking responsibility for a decision they made, or someone's just completely oblivious, because we got the 76ers saying they don't know where Fultz's new jump shot is coming from, but then we got his agent and his trainer saying they don't know where his jump shot is coming from, but clearly his jump shot has changed upon entering the NBA, and then we got reports that, well, the reason he's changing is because he has some soreness in his shoulder, and then someone else is saying that the new jump shot that he has what resulted in his shoulder pain, and he got a shot in his shoulder to drain fluid, but then we found that it was to put fluid in it. It's a freaking mess. But we do know this much. Markelle Fultz, he's really talented, and the Philadelphia 76ers need to tread carefully from here on moving forward. And I think the biggest thing that they need to do, and it seems like they've already started doing this, is let the guy freaking recover, because clearly something is wrong here and he needs to not be on the floor. And I think there have been some rumors or whatever where Philadelphia was apparently kind of pressuring Fultz to play. I don't know how true those rumors are. They could be very true, they could be not true, I don't know. But you'd think that a team like Philadelphia that has dealt with previous injuries so cautiously, it is kind of weird that we've gotten this deep into the Markelle Fultz situation, because this was a team that sat Joel Embiid for 2 seasons and still has him on a minutes restriction. They sat Ben Simmons for a year, they sat Nerlens Noel for a year. Now, of course, those were the Sam Hinkie 76ers who were all about patience in the long term, whereas this new 76ers regime, I mean, I don't think they're awful, but they're definitely a little bit more about winning right now, I would guess, with signings like JJ Redick and Amir Johnson, for example. I would hope that these Sixers, this organization as it is now, I would hope that they are not pressuring Fultz because they want him to go out there and prove to everyone that this portion of the organization is capable of making good moves too, because Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, those are both Sam Hinkie's guys. This entire roster is full of Sam Hinkie guys, so I would hope that they wouldn't be pressuring Fultz out there to go, hey, we can do it too, you know, one of our guys is really good, especially because they traded for him as well, you know. You got to sit him, give him as much time as possible. But then if we can get to Markelle Fultz himself, could this cause any long-term issues to his jump shot, or from a confidence standpoint, or from a physical one? I mean, we have to assume from a physical standpoint that he's going to be fine with some time off, unless this ends up being an injury that is way more significant than everyone is leading on. I don't know, we have to assume it isn't. But from a mental standpoint, I mean, now, of course, we don't know who's right, who's wrong, and whatever, but if there is some truth to Fultz changing his jumper a bit because he wanted to cater to the NBA a little bit more, then that would show that he wasn't completely confident in the jumper he already had, which is tough to believe, I understand that, but I don't know, there doesn't seem to be a actual right answer in all this, so I don't know. So if he wasn't completely confident in his initial jumper, and then he changes jumpers, and then this new jumper isn't going in either, I mean, you have to assume that Fultz would be in his head quite a bit. And that could lead to some long-term stuff where he's never completely confident in his jumper. But at the same time, I find it difficult to believe that a guy who's been a star for his entire life just suddenly hits the age of 18 or 19 years old, or however old he is, and then suddenly he just loses confidence. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So I'm going to bank on Markelle Fultz being really good, and he'll just get through this and he'll be okay. A little bit of fear, but not too much. But we can talk about just how his on-court relationship with these Sixers could be affected by this. TJ McConnell is the other point guard on the roster who plays a lot, and McConnell and Fultz have drastically different play styles. McConnell is more of a pass-first guy, and I do like McConnell a lot. He's really crafty, and even though he's not much of a three-point shooter, if you leave him open, he does a good job of attacking within the three-point line and usually drawing the help defense to where he can then find a guy for an open pass, or, you know, he might hit a mid-range or a floater or something. I like McConnell a lot. I think he can be a really good backup point guard. And the other option is Ben Simmons at point guard, of course. And Simmons is also a pass-first kind of dude. I would hope that we don't get a situation kind of like the Pistons of last year where the team is kind of established and then the shoot-first point guard comes back from an injury, in this case being Fultz, the other time being Reggie Jackson for the Pistons, and then the chemistry is just completely out of whack. That's what I would hope doesn't happen, but I can understand it happening if, you know, Fultz misses a decent amount of time here because, you know, Simmons is a guy who he's making sure everybody else is involved, and TJ McConnell is more of a lower usage kind of guy. Fultz is about his shot, and that could cause some sort of problems. Now, of course, there are other ways where it could work, because, I mean, if Fultz comes back and his jumper's good to go, which I assume it's going to be, then you got Simmons being the primary ball handler still, and then Fultz can provide spacing. So, ultimately, I don't think this is going to be a long-term effect on Markelle Fultz, but at the same time, the Sixers need to be a bit more upfront about this thing, and they need to say, listen, you know, this is on us. Even if it's not really on them, they might as well make it to be on them, because if I'm an organization, who do I want the fans to be given the side eye to? My star point guard who's 18 years old, or us as an organization? I'd much rather take the heat as an organization than put all that pressure on my player, which is kind of like what happened with the Bulls and Derrick Rose a while back, where the Bulls were like, nah, he's good, man, he just doesn't want to go. I disagree with Chicago doing that, and I hope that the Sixers don't carry on that sort of an attitude. But we're just going to have to see. Hopefully this does not affect Fultz's confidence or his ability to shoot, mentally or physically. And hopefully everybody's just going to be okay.